Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And you know it, we're doing a weekend wrap-up with Jason Cameron as usual. And we had a week off, but we are back at it. And speaking of back at it, holy cow, this guy was working today. First time in months and months and months and months. And man, like I was shocked to hear that. I thought it was another week or so before you're going back, but you let me know today that you finally were back to work. How does it feel?
It's work. It's still work, but actually, to be honest with you, it felt good. It felt
Nice.
good. Felt good to
Nice.
see everybody, to get back in the saddle, and they did not waste any time putting me to work. And but it was still pretty much an easy day, and it was good. It was good to get back and start doing, get back onto a regular schedule.
Nice. How long has it actually been? How many months?
Exactly 4 months.
4.
Exactly 4 months.
Wow. Holy cow. Yeah, well, I remember, anytime I've been off for a length of time and then see everybody, it's great. It feels like, you're a kid back to the first day of school and everybody asks you, hey, how was your summer holiday? And all that. And it's really nice to connect with everybody. And then they start to get the reality of, oh my God, I got a 12-hour day ahead here and I got to bust my butt. And a lot of the reality sinks in a little bit. Hard to get up, I'm sure you weren't getting up at 6 a.m. While you were off for 4 months. So that alarm probably wasn't a great something that you heard this morning, was it?
No, it wasn't great. And it was foreign. I was like, what was that? Like, what is this? Oh, it's my alarm. Oh yeah, I gotta get up to this now again. And like when you have that much time off, you always have to go through a kind of a weird reset for your sleeping pattern. So I didn't actually get a lot of sleep last night. So I'm definitely getting my sleep tonight.
I see.
For sure.
Nice.
But it's always a necessary thing, so that gets me back onto my regular schedule and all that sort of stuff. But again, it was just good to see everybody.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's great. So you're a lean, mean fighting machine now, hey? Are you feeling 100%?
I wouldn't say 100%. I would say like 90, 92%. So, and that's, I can work with 90. I can work with 92. I will get the 10 to 8 later down the road, as long as I keep doing what I need to do.
Nice. You can get to 100%. There's not going to be any reason why you can't get to 100%.
No, I firmly believe I can, and I've kind of proven it with some certain movements and stuff I've had to do in the gym, where I'm like, all right, I feel confident. I feel confident in the shoulder. I feel confident.
Nice. Yeah, well, cardio is good, I guess. That's probably something that you needed to really work on, and make sure that was going to be good going back, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, cardio is fantastic. Cardio is so good that one of our co-workers that you might know, Corey, was just like, so you've lost weight? And I'm like, yes, I have lost weight. It's like, you probably might be the only guy I know that when he's off work, it doesn't work, loses weight, doesn't gain it, just loses it.
Nice. Too bad you weren't able to give cardio to Luke Rockhold and Jose Aldo and many of the fighters in the UFC. Man, did it ever look like they were out of shape or just they couldn't handle the altitude? I haven't seen that many guys look like their cardio was a serious problem.
Oh yeah, where their cardio literally failed them. Yeah. I want to say literally, I thought the only fight where that wasn't an issue was the main event.
Yeah,
that's it.
Maybe. That's it. Well, Leon sort of took about 3 rounds, maybe 3.5 rounds off. He came out flying in that first round and was the better fighter. But then I don't know what happened in those middle rounds. I was trying to put on this really great video today that had his corner man just yelling at him between every rounds, and they had the Rocky theme song playing in the background, and he's just come on, don't do this, why are you doing this? and it was just awesome. I couldn't dial it up tonight on my computer for some reason, so I'm not going to be able to show it, but I'll put a link on our website and check it out. Did you see that? I mean, you were watching the fight, so you saw the guy constantly in his face yelling at him, but did you see the little video clip they put together?
I did, but also too, it was so poignant because of his nickname, Leon Rocky Edwards.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Come on, Rock! Come on, Rock!" Like, and I was just like, even I got into it, like with the way that he was doing it, with the passion in his voice, and I'm like, he's trying to amp his man up. He really is, and I was just like, okay, the cornermen are giving it their all to try to get him in the right mind space to say, I can do this. I can do this.
And he did. And he did.
And he did it.
You know, whew, like probably it could be considered the greatest knockout in UFC history. It could be considered the greatest head kick knockout. There was just I just keep flashing, over the last couple of days, flashing to other huge monumental moments in the UFC. And this is just one of those ones that it's right at the very top, because he was 1 minute away from losing and probably never getting a title shot again. His unfulfilled dreams and wishes, and Usman, getting the records that he was chasing and continuing on this historic run, and just, less than a minute away, all of a sudden he pulls off this incredible move and throws a kick and knocks Usman out. It was spectacular, and the whole mixed martial arts world is buzzing still, because it was just one of those incredible moments.
Like, yes, like you just said, like everything that was literally on the line, and everything to cement Usman's already incredible legacy, which would have just put him well over the top, because he would have tied everything. And then whatever his next fight was, that would have been him breaking all of those records. All right.
Yeah.
That's what was on the line. And then for Leon Rocky Edwards, let's go, you know what? I'm gonna say no. I'm going to write my own story to how this ends.
Yeah.
And guess what, people? It ends right now. Right now.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, Joe Rogan's absolutely right when he said this. That guy's technique, the way he throws his strikes, absolutely flawless. He hit the strike behind the feinted left and the head kick knockout, because he knew that Usman would do this. Bah! And then hit him. I'm looking at it. First off, I'm watching it live. I turned away to make a drink. I hear this, and I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And I go, I don't understand what I'm seeing. And like literally my eyes and my body was just like, that can't be. That actually couldn't have happened.
Yeah.
How could that have happened? Right? I was like Usman when he finally came to, which is, what are you talking about?
What's going on? Yeah. You could see Usman just keep asking around, like, seriously, what happened? I don't think that happened. What are you talking about? And everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked. But yeah, when Usman woke up, he couldn't wrap his brain around what had just happened.
Of course he couldn't, because he was literally a minute away from getting everything that he's ever wanted. Yeah. Like anything that he could have ever dreamed of was right there. Yeah. It was right there, until Rocky said, you know what? I'm just going to throw this perfect combo. It's going to be game over. Yeah. And also, too, by the way, couldn't have happened to a nicer, better human being. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of fights. I've seen a lot of title fights. I've never been that emotional for a fighter in the octagon. Nice. And I got to be honest, I was rooting for him. Mm-hmm. I definitely was rooting for him. I didn't think there was any freaking way that he was going to win that fight. But once he did, oh, man, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I was emotional too, man. It was one of those moments where you were like, okay, this is a guy that's been through so much, first Jamaican born champion of the UFC. Talks about where he was born to a 15-year-old mother. Father gets murdered. has to go to the UK to try to set up a better life, and goes to Birmingham, which is one of the most violent places on the planet. It's a really, really tough place. He calls it the trenches where he grew up, had to avoid gangs there as well. And his mother told him, hey, I want you to get into this mixed martial arts gym. Please go in here and, start training, and fell in love with it. And he's had so many knockdowns over his mixed martial arts career where you just thought, like, why doesn't this guy get a break? Why doesn't he get an opportunity? There's just so many times where he was on the cusp, and then somebody else would get the title fight and he would get moved. He would get a fight scheduled and then it would be postponed. And it was just, this story is just so amazing. And it just reinforces for me that MMA and the UFC, the best sport in the world, guys can come from the toughest situations and just work really hard and change their life, and really be that beacon of light for all these guys in those communities, in those harsh and tough situations around the world. And if he did it, I can do it. And that's, to me, one of the great things about sport, and one of the best things about this sport in particular.
Yeah, and it is one of the greatest things about the sport, like where this man grinded, worked hard every damn day, worked and kept working, and he never gave up on himself. No. Even when I almost want to say he wanted to in that fight, but I think he remembered in that last glimpse of that fight where he goes, I can't lose. My mom sacrificed too much for me.
Right.
That's something I absolutely understand.
Yeah.
She sacrificed too much for me. I have to figure out a way to win. And he had that one moment, that one instance where he goes, I'm going to rewrite this story. It's not going to go the way that people think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was just spectacular. I don't think many people gave him a shot to win. He has been such a solid fighter since that first loss, and he said it really helped him. It helped him understand his limitations and what he had to do to try to chip back. And he spent the last 7 years with Usman being the guy that he can target and beat and change his life like this. And that must be great to, be able to right that wrong 7 years and just see that guy. Because easily Usman could have, not been that champion and somebody else. But he got to, get defeated and think, okay, I got to figure out how to beat this guy. And 7 years later, it happened, and it shook up the world, man. It shook up the world. It changed the course of history, like no other thing I've seen in many, many, many years. And it just, I was just blown away. I was immediately getting texts from friends of ours, and it was just like, holy cow, this is another Rocky script. Like Sylvester Stallone might just be able to write down this, and Rocky 8 could be coming out in a couple months, because it was a perfect Rocky script, and it was so poetic that that's his nickname. And he's the champ now. This is cool. Do they do an immediate rematch in Wembley and it become one of the biggest fight cards in the history of the sport?
I think that's an absolute no-brainer. Right? It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute. First off, you got to give Usman his credit. Of course, he deserves an immediate rematch. He's probably one of the greatest welterweights that we've ever seen in our lives. So he gets that because he's earned it. And then Edwards earned that. O2 Arena, biggest venue in England, whatever the heck that is. That's where it's going to happen, and we're just going to put together one hell of a card from the UFC. It's going to be probably one of the greatest cards you could ever remember, and that's Dana White's job to do that.
I was amazed. He said he didn't even know where Salt Lake City was. He didn't even have a clue where it was on the map. He said now forever. I'm gonna love that city. I'm gonna remember it. It was crazy that this was thrown there. I don't really know why they picked Utah and picked these guys to be fighting in Utah, but now to be in Wembley Stadium, I know Dana White has shied away a little bit from having outdoor cards, and especially in the UK, he said, because of the rain. So, let's hope they can do it in a strategic place, a time where, rain is very, very limited, if at all. And we can have this. We talked about the England card about 2 months ago. That was absolutely spectacular. We got Paddy Pimblett and Molly McCann and
Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall and all the top guys from the UK. And now I think this has the ability to just blow the roof off of MMA in the UK, and especially when they had it on the same night as Anthony Joshua and Usyk, and Joshua lost again. And I thought it was kind of brutal that it was up against that, because in the UK, more people were watching the boxing than were watching the UFC. And so it was a little bit of a bad timing on the UFC's part, I thought. And but now he's probably more popular than Joshua going forward, and has that ability to just take MMA to even higher level than it's ever been in the UK.
Oh yeah. And also too, like, just the man's genuineness.
Yeah.
Like after the fight was done and he was on the phone with his mom.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. That hit me right there. You know what I mean? Like I heard that and I'm just like, well, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you for making your dream come true in the most ridiculous, spectacular fashion that you could ever imagine. It was almost as if he said, I'm just going to emulate Rocky from the movies, but I'm just going to do it in real life. Yeah, I think that's the way I want to write my story. Yeah. I'm going to do it that way. And then after it's all said and done, he has the Rocky theme music playing. His family's like, oh my God. Like his coach, especially the one who said, come on, Rocky, he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
It actually happened. I know we gave him the nickname for a reason, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
It was, you couldn't have wrote a better script. It was incredible. It was one of the highlights. Dana White called it his holy moment. And he said, that's what was happening worldwide. People were just, what the heck just happened? And that's one of the coolest parts about this sport is, lots of guys are one kick, one elbow, one amazing shot away from changing their life, winning a belt. We say there's a puncher's chance this guy has. And so many of these champions we've had recently are super dominant and winning for years and years and years. And you think, no, this person can't be beat. This person can't be beat. And, somebody comes up with these big upsets. We saw Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes, shocked us big time. Lots of amazing moments. But this one was one of the greatest ever. And I think we'll remember it for decades and decades to come.
Yeah, I'll always remember that. I'll always remember the fact that no matter how dominant a champion is, and I'm not even going to say that Usman really made a mistake.
No.
I think that more to the fact that Edwards created an opportunity for himself to win. Yeah. I think that's actually what happened.
No, it wasn't a mistake. You're training all the time to avoid shots, and he threw a very short little right just to show it to him, and then went for the left, and he wasn't throwing it with full power, but he was showing it to him just to get his head over there. As soon as his head dropped, it was like, okay, here's the kick. I'm taking him out. And it was a walk-off knockout. To see Usman on his back, his eyes rolled back in his head. It was, I like I said, I was getting texts and I was jumping around, and it was, it was spectacular. It was cool. I wasn't rooting for any guy really.
No.
I just was hoping for a really amazing fight. But in the end, I'm more happy than I could have been if Usman won. And this was great. This is a guy that just had every reason to be somebody negative to society, and
Yeah.
he has turned his life around and been a positive force for this world. And yeah, I'm thrilled for him and his family. And that call to his mom, I don't think too many people weren't getting a bit emotional seeing how special that was for him to be able to tell her that he won. And they're he's coming home to hug her and tell her, shook up the world. He's the champion. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like for where he came from,
Yeah.
and then for him to keep like reciting the one line, "Look at me now," is like, yeah, because he probably imagined that for a long time,
Oh
long
man.
time.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. That's who I want to be. But he did it in a way that was so ridiculous that it's just like, no, no, dude, you did it like that.
Yeah.
Nobody does it like you did it like a movie.
Yeah.
But actually, sorry, you did it better than a movie because it's real life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I go to I watch a lot of the pay-per-views in a loud bar, and you can hear the commentary, but it's a little bit tough to make it out the whole entire time. I was so happy I was watching it
Yeah.
quietly on my own, and I could hear everything. And the reason why I bring this up is because Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier and John Anik, mostly Cormier and Rogan, were really describing it very well, saying,
Boy.
unfortunately, Rockies just doesn't have it tonight. And,
Yeah.
and DC said it later. We're writing his obituary. He's done. He's finished. And when it happened, they were just blown away, absolutely shocked. As much as the shot of them, wide-eyed and holy cow. But the other moment that I remember them talking about was they said Kamaro's ahead 3 rounds to 1, and it looks like he's winning. This 5th round will be, a really decisive decision. But he could coast here, but that's not in his DNA. That's not in his nature. He will probably not do that. And that do you think he's regretting that today, that he didn't try to clinch, try to get away from shots, try to do something different so that last minute could have ended and he'd still be the champ?
No. You want to know why? It's not in his DNA. That's not the way he fights. I honestly believe he's just like, no, I don't think he would even second guess that. He got to where he was by fighting the way he does,
Right.
because he's true to himself, right?
Yeah.
Some fighters are just like, that's just the way I fight, and that's just the way it is. And so for him to get to where he got to by fighting that way, why would you change that?
Sure.
Plus, on top of that, that's just the way that you fight. And I don't think he ever could have even done it if he wanted to, because it's just not the way he does things.
Good point. Yeah. Good point. I'd like to know how soon do you think these two can get back at it?
All right. That knockout was quite significant. And also, too, you have to remember, first knockout of his career. All right. So you actually kind of have to deal with that with some sincerity and some seriousness. So I would say, personally, it would have to happen at some point in time next year.
Okay.
Spring, early summer.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, well, as I was mentioning earlier, Dana White's been a little worried about rain.
Yeah.
We would think in spring, summertime, it might not rain much there in Wembley and in London. So hopefully they can find a date and do it. They'll be able to, build it up, hype it up for a really long time. And I do hope that it's in when they pick a really good month of the year where we're not going to see rain, because you know, how can you fight in a cage when it's raining? It's just
Oh, you can't. You
it
can't.
wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to do it. They'd have to cancel it or postpone it, and you know
Yeah.
that would be horrible. So I do hope that they do that. Another thing that happened on Saturday night was that Rob Gronkowski has taken a page out of the Peyton Manning's book and did a telecast watching all the fights and having a bunch of guests comment on the fights while they're happening. Did you see some of the guests that they had and some of the footage from Saturday night from the Gronks, all the Gronk brothers, and even their dad?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know it was happening. I did not. I did not know. I only heard about it like yesterday, where I'm like, "What's this about Gronk doing stuff? Like, what was he doing?" So I didn't know. I didn't know.
It was amazing. They had so many great guests. It was incredible. They had Chuck Liddell, Kevin Holland was right in there with them, you know, on the couches, hanging out. They had let's see who else. They had Patty Pimblett, Molly McCann, Ty Tuivasa, Dustin Poirier. Who else? Just so many guys. It was amazing. It was really cool. I wasn't able to. I'm watching the fights, and so I
Yeah.
didn't watch it at the same time, but I've seen a lot of clips and different things. It was pretty cool. I've really enjoyed the Monday Night Football with the Mannings and
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
great guests that they've got. I think it was a good idea, and I think the Mannings. I think I think they have some kind of production company, and they went to the Gronks and said, "Hey, why don't we try this?" And I think it's going to be something we see quite regularly now.
Well, as long as you have like the chemistry, then you can make that work. Like obviously with the Manning brothers, they grew up together their whole lives, and they're both, future Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna work. And also too, they understand football. They
Yeah.
understand football like nobody's business. And now with the Gronkowskis, I just call it the Gronkowskis because they're all in there now. Um, Obviously they're all fans of the sport,
Yeah.
and obviously they have some sincere respect for the sport, and then they have fun guys come on to their show and talk about it, especially if you have Patty Pimblett and Molly McCann. Two are maniacs. Perfect
Yeah.
show, right?
One of my favorite moments from the Gronkowski telecast was they did a shoey while Tai Tuivasa was on. That was pretty hilarious. Kevin Holland, he was amazing. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters and one of yours too. He was in there. He had called Leon Edwards victory, and so he was jumping around saying, "I told you so, I told you so," and so that was neat. That was fun. And Dana White actually came on as well, and Dana White divulged something that he said he hasn't told anybody in the media about. He said that he had brokered a deal when Brady was leaving New England. He had brokered a deal for Brady to go and sign with the Raiders. And it was going to be him coming over, bringing Gronk, and they would play with the Raiders. And it was a done deal. And Gruden came in there at the last moment, nixed it, said, "No, we're not doing this. Get out of here, done." And he decided to veto the deal. And for some reason, they goaded him into it. Hey, tell the Raiders story. And he's like, "You really want me to do this? You really want me to?" And he divulged that. And it was shocking. It shocked the NFL world quite a bit that Tom Brady might not have went to Tampa. He was going to be a Raider, and they might have won a championship there.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. I know the other side of that because Brady was on like LeBron's show, The Shop,
Okay.
and there was a comment made, and everybody's trying to speculate who is he talking about. So because Brady made the comment, Brady said, "You chose that MFer over me, right?" And everybody's like, "Well, who's supposed to be that guy that he's referring to?" Because nobody knew what team he was talking about. And so now it seems like we all know who that is.
Yeah.
It's David Carr. Now,
Right.
wouldn't it be fantastic? Super Bowl, Raiders versus the Bucks.
Yeah,
That was just like, all right, well,
yeah,
let's see what's up now, Tom. See
yeah.
what's up now. Like that would be perfect. That would be
That'd be
perfect.
amazing. Yeah, yeah.
But the other thing I would just wanted to add real quick is, but if you're like the GM of the Raiders and then you get a call from like, Dana White talking about, oh, I'm just gonna make this deal here real quick. And, I got Brady here. And he's just like, what are you talking about? What is this a prank call? Dana White? What are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, he
honestly,
was.
because
Yeah,
like,
it was crazy. He said he had completely brokered the deal and made it happen. And yeah, he was excited to see Brady come because he was always a Dana White's a Boston guy and was a huge Patriots fan and loved Brady. And then now Dana's in Vegas. Well, he thought, yeah, well, let's bring Tom over to Vegas and we'll be able to hang out and yeah, make the Raiders super reputable. And he was, yeah, he said he was excited to pull the deal off, and then Gruden just pulled the carpet out from under their feet, and that was it, done deal.
you know what? Okay. So my conspiracy mind started thinking here. All right, you remember what happened to Gruden after
Yeah,
lost his job? I wonder.
I wonder.
I wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I can't.
Uncle Dana, get rid of this guy now.
Yeah, yeah. Just like Tom just goes, well, that wasn't a cool move. I guess he's got to go.
Yeah, maybe. Holy cow, so crazy. Yeah, so that was fun. I look forward to seeing more of it. Most of the time, I'm sure I'll watch it after, somehow record it. I couldn't figure out how to stream it
Yeah.
at the same time. Unfortunately, at the same time, lots of the card was happening. Team Canada was playing in the gold medal game in the World Junior Championships in Edmonton, your town you were born in. And
Yeah.
so I had two TVs going, and I was one eye on the game and one eye on the UFC. And then once the game started getting down to the nitty gritty, it was Canada Finland, and
Yeah.
started getting down to the last few minutes. It was 2-2. It went into overtime. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not watching the UFC right now. It was during the female fight on the main card. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just focusing in on the hockey now. And I won $3,200 on Team Canada winning. And oh man, I was holy cow, I was just so happy, blew my mind. And then I got to turn around, watch the last few fights on the card, and yeah, it was one of the greatest nights ever. I had to work early Saturday. It turned out to be about a $4,000 day for me. Team Canada won the gold medal. Saw one of the greatest knockouts in the history of the sport, and Saturday couldn't have been better. It was incredible.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it wasn't like not a long day. I'm sure.
No, not really. No.
Okay, all
No.
right. So that's a huge win for you, my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah,
Huge. Look at that.
yeah, yeah. So my Finnish friend Vesa,
Yeah.
him and I have always put bets down on Canada Finland games in hockey, and we've been doing it for years. And our deal was a dinner out at our favorite restaurant, and it's always been a $400 meal, and that's just been the minimum that we've paid, $400. And so we start chirping each other on the weekend. And Canada played Finland a little earlier, and I won and said, okay, I'm going to have to collect on this debt now, man. I need it. You owe me 5 dinners right now. And he's like, 5? You owe me 4. What are you talking about? And so I was able to start compiling some historical facts and games and stuff and start putting it together. And he goes, okay, fine. Yeah. I think you're up. Oh, okay, you're up 4. We'll do double or nothing. So I'm like, okay, 8 meals, 400 a piece, $3,200. All right. Yeah. All right. I'm in. So Canada scores early, 1-0. Great. Scores a second goal. We're up 2-0. Things are looking sweet, really good. And then they start playing defensive, and all of a sudden Finland scores. Oh crap. Oh no. Finland scores again. oh my God, this is not happening here. Oh no, I do not want to have to pay these dinners. These are expensive dinners. So I'm like starting to sweat. As I said, I just like, okay, UFC, sorry, but you're taking the back seat to this game now. So Canada comes out in overtime. It's in Edmonton, pretty full house, not completely sold out, but pretty full house. Rabid crowd, pretty incredible. 3-on-3 overtime. So a lot of open ice, a lot of opportunities. Finland comes down 3-on-1,
Nice.
3-on-1, and they get a shot off and they don't score, but it scrambles around. And all of a sudden it goes back out to the slot and the guy shoots it and it goes over the goalie's shoulder and it's heading for a wide open net and it's over. I'm just like, oh my God, it's over. And one of the Canadian captain is skating into the crease and he sticks his stick out and he knocks the puck out of the air and it comes down and it bounces on the line a couple of times. He swipes at it and he misses it. Another Canadian player starts swiping it, misses it. And then he finally sweeps it away and they go up ice and the guy scores the gold medal winning goal. And I was like,
oh man.
I just won $3,200. And it was, man, it was sweet. Holy cow. Chirping the heck out of Vesa for the last 2 days is even made that win even sweeter. And he's flying here now. I've made reservations at 8 different restaurants, the highest end restaurants in the city, and I'm gonna eat like a friggin' king. And I'm gonna finally collect on all these Canadian moments. And man, I'm telling you, Saturday was one of the best nights of my life.
All right. All right. Well, I love the fact that Vess is honoring honoring the bet by
Yeah.
actually flying out immediately to honor the bet. And here's the thing that he doesn't know. I'm just gonna pop in unscheduled for one dinner. He goes, wait,
Yeah.
this guy is saying, hey man, you lost.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's part of my entourage. He gets it too. He gets fed too.
Yes, yes, I'm gonna get some food.
Yeah.
Oh man, but that's just it's an awesome night. It's an awesome night full of sports, of just the unbelievable happening. And it, you know what? It kind of reinforced the fact of don't ever give up on yourself. Don't ever give up on yourself.
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ever give up on
Don't
yourself.
ever give up. And yeah, that's as I said earlier, that's why sports is so great. That's why, you and I are in love with sports and we want to have it in our lives. And one of the reasons why I started this podcast, I want people to get the feelings, the passion, just the incredible drive that it can give young people and pull them out of tough situations. I don't know where I would have been without sports in my life. I really hesitate, and I don't want to even know because thank God sports came into my life at a young age, and I was be able to do so much with it, and it has enriched my life more than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, that the same goes for me too. And then also too, just to be able to witness some of these iconic moments in history as it goes by, and you're just like, yeah, I was there for that. I saw that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Right? Like
Yeah.
it's like, and also too, life affirming,
Sure.
life changing for some too as well. Like I said,
Okay.
like with the man knowing that he had almost no shot to win unless a submission or a knockout, and then he still pulls it off against literally one of the greatest welterweight champions ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usman was there. Probably with that win would have just cemented his greatest welterweight of all time. I have allegiance to George St. Pierre, and
Yes, me too.
I consider him the greatest welterweight of all time. But Usman was, right on the cusp of getting there, and yeah, he just shocked the world. And you're right. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't something that he did wrong. It wasn't a mistake. It was just a perfect execution of a technique that I'm sure he's run 1,000 times in his gym, and he just saw it as an opportunity and he made the most of it. And yeah,
Yeah.
it changed lives. It changed a lot of lives.
Changed a lot of lives, changed a lot of lives for him, for the better, for his family. I couldn't be happier for him and his family. And going forward, just the man is now an ambassador of the sport for sure. He's a face for the UFC. So give him the money he deserves, Dana.
Yeah.
All the money that he deserves, because he's earned it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about you a lot, especially being that first Jamaican born guy, calling his mom, I'm sure that would have been your first call, not having your dad in your life and everything. So yeah, it was perfect. And I'm glad, I'm glad we saw it there. Yeah, it's hard to talk about much more of the card. I was quite shocked. I was quite shocked at how the elevation seemed to affect most of the guys. Should the UFC have these types of cards? Because it kind of made a lot of really good fighters look not very good. And we want to, I think, showcase, the talent of these guys, the absolute skill, the incredible cardio, the incredible athleticism of these guys. And it wasn't a witness on a lot of these parts of these guys. I was seeing guys gassed out. Luke Rockhold looked like he had run a marathon, only 5 minutes into the fight. I've never seen a guy so exhausted, and he looks like he's in incredible shape. He was gassed so quickly.
Yeah, he was by far, out of anybody on that card, was the most affected and honestly, obviously, he's in incredible shape. Yeah. And it didn't matter. Right. It didn't matter. He got sapped. But to his credit, my goodness, you want to talk about a man that did not give up on himself? He had plenty of opportunity to do that in that fight. Yeah. And he never did. I will give him all the credit that he's due. All of it. Because that guy was done after round one. Yeah. And he he just kept fighting. Like he refused to give up on himself, and he was bound and determined by hook or by crook to get to the end. And he did. Yeah. And especially with the way that he did it, reversing it on the end and then rubbing his blood all over Costa's face like a wild animal. Yeah. I was just like, yeah. If you're gonna go out, that's probably one of the best things I've ever seen on the way out the door. Yeah.
Do you think that his retirement will stick? Do you think he's done? Would that be the last time we see him in a cage?
I think so. Yeah. I honestly do. I really do. Like he came across to me the same way that Donald Cerrone came across to me, which is I'm old and I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's just the way that they both had that same sort of like feel of that's it. I literally gave it my all, and he did. Right. And some of those punches that he hit Costa with, even I'm just like, okay, that's not normal. You can actually be somewhat affected by some of those punches. Sure. Some of the ones where he wound up and just I'm just like, nothing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Costa's tough as nails, and he's another guy that's in phenomenal shape. But he looked hard too. I personally might shy away if I'm the UFC matchmaker. If I'm setting up these events, I might shy away from high elevation. We saw it in Mexico City. We see it in Colorado. We see it in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I just don't like seeing guys in that great of shape look like they're out of shape. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. But I understand why the UFC does it, so that you can get to those fans, so that you can get to those people. And also, too, let's be honest, it adds a little bit of an element of, did these guys prepare the right way? Right. It's not like they don't know where they're going. Yeah. Some of them don't actually have let's be honest, Some of them don't have the money to train like that,
True.
to go there and train for a month
Yeah.
to acclimate to the elevation. Some of them don't, but the top end guys do.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, it's like, well, then you got to be smart. You have to take that into account into your training, because you've known months in ahead that this is where it's going to be. So figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Well, speaking of smart, that would be impossible to describe for a fighter on this card who had an opportunity to knock out a guy, and he decided to dance around and around and act like a fool. Then he throws an illegal knee and cost himself 50K, cost himself probably his win bonus as well. Luis Saldana against Sean Woodson. He had him knocked out. He had him knocked down 3 times, and Woodson wasn't even probably conscious of what was going on. And then he throws a stupid illegal knee. Mike Beltran didn't handle it correctly, in my opinion. And man, like, I would be so furious if I was in Luis Saldana's corner. How many stupid moves he pulled that night.
Yeah, if I'm his coach, I'm super pissed off with him. Like it's just like, what, are you here to win, or are you here to be a clown? Which one is it? You know what I mean? Like, because it's like he squandered that win, and then all of a sudden became a split draw. And by the way, you kind of deserve that. You kind of deserve that. That's what you deserve. That's what you earned. But like I'm watching it, and I'm just like, so do you not understand the rules? You can't throw that knee to a grounded opponent. And I'm looking at it, and as he's throwing it, and then he's putting his arms up like he won, and I'm like, no, you're going to get a point deduction, and the fight's going to continue. Like, it's just like, what are you doing?
Something's wrong there. Yeah. Just was not using his brain at all. Had Woodson hurt, then he decided to go and pull some dance moves off, and knocked him down again and didn't attack him, and then threw that knee, and oh man, it was, he got his just due, but it probably cost him $75,000, $100,000. Brutal move. And I hope I don't see Luis Saldana for a while.
Yeah, you know what? And also too, that's youth. That's his youth speaking, that's his inexperience, and that's his immaturity. Kind of reminded me actually of the wide receiver Deshaun Jackson, where he forgot to take the football into the end zone. Kind of forgot, right? Because like he's like, oh, right, you have to actually cross the line for a score. That's what that reminded me of. Where I'm just like, hopefully he learns from this, and next time, pays attention to what he's supposed to be doing, which is win the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I did want to mention the featured prelim. Alexander Romanov comes in, super highly touted, 16-0, supposed to be able to walk through Marcin Tybura, and also looked gassed. Tybura, veteran, was able to grind out a really good decision victory. And I think it was youth against experience there. And I think Tybura really said, you're not quite ready to, hang with the big boys quite yet. And it was a good victory for him.
Good victory for him, and I think it was a good learning moment for Romanov, because I thought Tybura actually he took his time with the fight. And when he took his time with the fight, like, he didn't try to gas himself out like immediately like Romanov did, which is just over wrestle. He just took his time, and he tried to keep his cardio as much as he could, knowing that he was at a higher elevation. He fought smarter than Romanov did. Because he's more experienced and he's fought there before. That's why he knew, right? Sure. So, and that's something that Romanov can learn from that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I guess let's mention a couple fights on the main card. Jose Aldo. I don't know what happened there. I was expecting so much more from him. It is tough to fight a guy like Dvalishvili, who's just constantly trying to take you down. He made about 15, 20 attempts to take him down. Wasn't able to get those takedowns, but just constantly on him. Aldo just didn't look right. He just didn't look like he was there. Wasn't throwing enough. Looked shocked when the decision went the other way, but I don't think anybody else really was, because he just didn't seem like he was in the fight.
Well, because he didn't match volume with volume, as far as I'm concerned. Like, he just didn't match volume with volume. Like, he had to have known, it's like whenever that guy presses you up against the cage, you're gonna have to spin out of that and start striking immediately, right? Because that guy is not going to stop coming at you. That's one of his greatest weapons, is his cardio.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter where he is. He could be up in the Andes fighting. He's still going to fight you for 25 minutes straight. It's going to be like ridiculous. You're going to look at him like, you're a freak of nature. He's like, yes, I am. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, and I thought to myself, although he didn't step on the gas enough, but again, too, like you said, when it's that elevation, he's probably trying to monitor the gas tank as best as he could.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, ah, man, I hate fighting at elevation. I only have this much to give, right? And so he had to try to pick his moments within the fight. But the bad thing is that he had to pick more moments than that.
Sure.
He had to do more than that. He had to do more than what he did.
Definitely.
He just didn't do enough.
Yeah, and it's tough because he squandered an opportunity. Dana White had said before the fight that he was getting a title shot with a good victory, and he's out of the conversation. And Dana White was actually angry with Merab too. He said he didn't do himself any favors tonight. He wasn't impressed with his effort either, and so both guys really moved down in probably, I don't know in the rankings, but both moved down as far as a title shot goes. So too bad for them. The fight that kicked off the main card was a mismatch. I just thought, why are they doing this? Maybe just to get the crowd electrified a little bit with a big KO early. Harry Hunsucker shouldn't be in the same cage as Tyson Pedro. And Pedro really dispatched him quick with a really lethal kick to the body.
Pedro was basically like, "Ooh, this is going to be quick." Like that's like feeding a seal to a lion. He's like, "All right, cool."
Yeah.
Like even I was just like, "Okay, so what 90 seconds or sooner?"
Yeah.
It was a minute. It was a minute. Yeah, man. I thought the same. I thought the same as you.
Yeah, it was rough. I feel like the matchmakers, that's what they maybe were thinking. Just let's kick off Utah with a huge KO victory, and they got it. And I felt sorry for Hunsucker. That's not the kind of opponent he should be fighting at this point.
No, he shouldn't be. Actually, he probably shouldn't even be on the main card, to be honest with you. He should probably be on the early prelims.
Yeah.
That's where he should have been.
Yeah.
But then, I guess if they want to get Pedro over, that's a good way to do it. I wonder if Pedro's like, hey, can you get me another guy like that? Can you do that again?
Yeah. Keep feeding me seals. Yeah, exactly. Great card. I loved it. I'm so excited for this Leon Edwards era, and can't wait to see them fight for the trilogy fight. And it was an awesome card. I didn't like it in Utah. Don't go back there. It was 6 years before they had it this time. Let's make it 12 years. I don't want it there. I don't want it there. I think it shed a bit of a bad light, except we got, such a great finish, but don't go back. We have a 1 week break in the UFC cards. Nothing coming up this coming weekend, which is kind of surprising and shocking. I had to look a few times and just make sure that I was right about that, but we got a 1 week break. So what are you gonna do on a Saturday night with no UFC?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually surprised because now that I look at the next card, I'm like, oh, you're right. There's nothing on. But how many do we have in a row? Was that that was like 10 to 12, right?
That was a good stretch. Yeah,
it was a good long stretch.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I didn't realize next pay-per-view is in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
It's coming pretty quick.
UFC 279. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
The next fight night, it's Cyril Gane against Tai Tuivasa, and it's in France. I think it's first card ever in France for the UFC. Cyril Gane has risen up to the top of the ranks and can command a fight card there now. It is early, so you'll have this Saturday night to do something great. You'll have next Saturday night to do something great as well. The prelims start at 9 a.m. here on the West Coast Pacific time zone, and noon for the main card, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. So yeah, we're gonna have to wake up early and watching fights 2 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wake up early. And by the way, I'm already gonna call my shot. I think the best fight on this card, I think personally, will be the co-main event.
Yeah.
Robert Whitaker and Marvin Vettori. I don't know who put that one together. Somebody's a damn genius.
Yeah.
I love that fight.
Me too.
Absolutely love it.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome fight. I think that's for sure the fight of the night. And you're right. Yeah, put some money on it and you're gonna be able to cash in easy. Look at all the great fights on this card though. I get to see Buckley, love him. He's fighting Imavov. That's incredible. I think that main card, man, that Whitaker Vettori, like, wow, is that ever going to be phenomenal? Yeah, it's exciting and yeah, fun. Lots of fun fights on that card. And then Khamzat Chimaev, Nate Diaz coming up, UFC 279, Saturday, September 10th. So few weeks away, 3 weeks away from, a little less than 3 weeks away from that fight. I think Nate Diaz is being thrown to the wolves for his last fight of his contract, and yeah, who knows what we're gonna see. I guess everybody knows there's a fighter's chance with everybody, but a little bit of a mismatch, I think.
Little bit, but at the same time, I thought there was a mismatch when he fought Leon Edwards, and he almost pulled Leon Edwards.
Right.
Like, I guess that's what I can call it now. Just call it the Leon Edwards. I'll call it the Rocky. Oh, you got Rocky, buddy. Oh,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. There was a bit of sad news this week. UFC veteran Eric Silva is retiring. Complications to COVID. He has almost been on death's door with COVID, and it has affected him so greatly that he is walking away from the sport. And I hope he's able to recover very soon and have a great life beyond the UFC.
Yeah, that's actually shocking. Sometimes you forget that COVID's still around, it's still a thing, and it's still actually quite deadly.
Yeah.
You know, like, and this is also the subtle reminder of take care of yourself out there. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mentioned Anthony Joshua and Usyk earlier. Shocking turn of events. I think most people thought Usyk beat Joshua, but wouldn't beat him for a second time. He got a split decision victory, and Joshua lost his mind. He flipped out in the ring, went and charged over, ripped the belt from Usyk, threw it out of the ring, went on a huge, massive rant. You got to see it. It was insane. He went back to the locker room, let his head cool down a little bit, came back and talked to some reporters and apologized. But it was pretty bad. It was brutal. This takes away this massive fight that could have been between Joshua and Fury in Wembley Stadium, and would have been one of the greatest, top build fights of all time. But it looks like now it's Usyk and Fury, and they're going to try to have the winner unify the heavyweight division and have all 4 belts. It's not as exciting, I don't think, as Joshua, but I think it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And I hope they marketed as David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
And they actually maybe even make Usyk smaller, right? So
Right.
you have this giant, and you got a little Usyk, and it's like, oh man, I'm gonna beat you. It's like I don't know if that's likely. That really doesn't. But
No,
I
it's like, to me, it's like big brother, little brother. Like, big brother just about to go to college. I'm gonna put a whipping on my kid brother so he gets tough, and it's a massive, serious size difference. Holy cow!
oh yeah, the size difference.
It's gotta be for a heavyweight championship fight. It's gotta be the highest, biggest size difference ever in history, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you because like it is literally the David versus Goliath. It is like biggest man ever and little guy who came up from cruiserweight to
Yeah.
heavyweight. So he's not a true heavyweight, by the way. What
Not
that
at all.
means.
Not
He's
at
not a
all.
true heavyweight. So
That's crazy.
and the other thing is whenever this fight is made and when it happens, I'm just super curious to see exactly what the strategies are going to be from Usyk's side.
Yeah.
And like what he has to do, because you know what Fury's going to do? I'm going to cut off the ring, and I'm going to maul you like a bear.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you hold my weight for 12 minutes.
That would be smart. That would be very smart on Fury's part. And Usyk, it's going to be a tough task. It's crazy. David versus Goliath. But yeah, in a few months from now, we might be talking about, holy cow, never give up, never give up. You can do it. And we saw it this Saturday. We can see it again. That's why we love combat sports. We love boxing. We love MMA, and it's possible. It's possible. You could win.
Hey, just like Kevin Garnett said, anything is possible.
Exactly.
But I want to say this with Joshua's antics at the end of that boxing match. He must have just looked like a spoiled brat. Where Usyk's like, you want to know what real hardship is? Fighting for your country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So shut up.
You said it earlier. Hey, it's amazing that he's even got the opportunity to train and to get into this fight because he's fighting for his country. We talked about most of these professional boxers have laid down their gloves and picked up guns and tried to fend off Russia from taking over the country. So I don't know how he pulled it off. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. That's incredible. That's incredible. And so I think Usyk is just like, oh, so he's gonna just take my belt and throw it into the crowd. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm not just gonna go into the back and get my assault rifles. I'm not gonna do it. This is not war.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah. I'm sure Joshua was happy about that. Holy cow.
Yeah. So, and also too, I think Usyk obviously deserves this chance. He deserves the opportunity. I hope it does happen because I just want to see the spectacle of like, what are you gonna do against that guy? Like, what is like? I know that you have like literally a Hall of Fame coach and you're a Hall of Famer yourself, but what your strategy is going to be against that guy with your superior footwork and like how you're going to have to try to maintain distance away from him all the time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love seeing this.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it together. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be incredible. Yeah, really, really, really wild. I can't wait to make the announcement when they've signed the paperwork. It is harder in boxing to make these fights happen. The crowd, the fans want it. Lots of times the promoters want it. Everybody wants it, but sometimes they just can't come up with a deal. But let's hope that they can do it. Fury has to come out of retirement, sign a big deal. It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars probably on both sides, and but hopefully they pull it off. Yeah. As I mentioned before we even started the podcast, we're talking dog days of summer. NFL's in preseason mode. NBA's still in off season. We had Monday Night Football tonight, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll be able to talk to Jason about his favorite team, and Atlanta roared out to a 16-0 lead, and they lost 24-16 to the sad sack New York Jets. I was quite excited for you. I was ready to talk to you about this new Atlanta Falcons team that was looking pretty great. Marcus Mariota looked pretty good in his limited time. He was 6 for 10, 132 yards and a touchdown pass. He threw an amazing pass to Kyle Pitts, who made a 52-yard grab. And I thought, wow, that could be a great combination. But in second half, didn't do nothing. Desmond Ridder came in, decent looking numbers, but no points, and they lost to the Jets. So sorry to say, maybe Atlanta might to be another year away from contending for a good playoff spot, but the preseason stinks. Like, come on, get over it. Like, let's not even have the preseason anymore. I hate it. I just hate it. It's so boring and crappy to watch. And I can't even believe they charge money for people to go to these games, because you're just seeing a whole bunch of guys that they're not going to ever play in the NFL, and they're just coming to sort of get evaluation. And we're never seeing the starters. It's boring, and it's lousy football.
And also, too, if you do see the starter, what if he gets injured like Zach Wilson did?
Yeah.
Oh man, that kind of sucks. There's a reason why some of the best run teams like the LA Rams just go, yeah, none of those guys are starting. They're not playing that. They don't need to. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't take that risk because we're a well-run organization.
I'm boycotting the preseason for a while. It's crappy and it's really bad. They were promoting tonight, Monday Night Football, Saturday the 12th. Russell Wilson returning to Seattle with the Denver Broncos. I'm actually excited for that. I think some will boo him maybe, but I think he'll get an amazing tribute video. Tons of people will be there to support him and wish him, all the best in his second half of his career. But greatest quarterback that the Seahawks ever had, bar none, I think. And brought him a Super Bowl championship and a lot of credibility. Really good run, and it'll be fun. 2 weeks from now, we'll get to see him return to Seattle, get his due probably.
Well, now, are you excited because you want to see the video tribute? Because the game's not going to be very good. You do know, right? I expect the Broncos to put an absolute whooping.
Sure.
Sure. On the Seahawks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, this year is not going to be pretty for the Seahawks. From what I've seen so far, and from what I'm hearing, this is a rebuild for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's a complete rebuild, and Pete Carroll's like, man, I'm not getting any younger, but man, am I enthusiastic. Super enthusiastic.
Yeah. I heard this incredible thing today about the Dallas Cowboys, and I have something that I'm going to read you. So Dallas Cowboys today were announced that they're the first NFL team worth $8 billion. There was a little announcement with it that made some people laugh. In 1983, Donald Trump was offered to buy them for $50 million. And he turned around and bought a USFL franchise instead. And it folded 2 years later. And his quote, the day that he walked away from the Cowboys and purchased the USFL team instead, he said, I feel sorry for the poor guy who's going to buy the Cowboys. He'll be known to the world forever as a loser. and there's a great picture of Jerry Jones there. And I think 8 billion to whatever Trump's got going on. Jones might be a loser, but he's $8 billion loser currently with the Cowboys. Pretty wild. I had forgotten that Trump was close to buying them back in '83.
Well, you have to always remember, Trump is not a very good businessman.
No.
So whatever he does, do the opposite of that. You're going to be a winner.
Yeah.
You're actually going to be a winner.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Another football news, Canadian football. I started getting excited about the league again this year. Went to a bunch of games, was highly entertained. We had the consensus MVP as quarterback of the league, a Victoria, BC guy that came in, best player in the league first half, 8-1 record, phenomenal numbers. Like his numbers are 300 completions out of 395 attempts, 4,035 yards, 28 touchdowns passing, 7 touchdowns rushing, and was just lighting it up. And he got hit right near the end of the game on Saturday night. Has what's called a Liz Frank injury to his foot and has to undergo surgery this week and will be lost for the majority of the season, if not the entire year. Devastating news for the BC Lions, for the CFL as a whole, and of course for Nathan Rourke and his family. Oh man, it was so tough. So tough. Football is tough business and there's a lot of injuries, but this one really hurt.
Yeah, that one sucks. And also too, that's kind of a nasty one. That's a nasty injury. It is. It's just a nasty, nasty injury. I hope he makes a full recovery. But the one thing that the team cannot do, they absolutely cannot do that with that injury. They cannot rush him back.
No.
If he has to miss the rest of the season, that's absolutely what they got to do.
Yeah.
And that's one of those injuries you do not mess around with. Give it the full time.
Yeah. They have a Canadian quarterback that's the number 2 guy, and he's coming in to fill in this weekend. They're playing a back-to-back against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they beat them 28-10, I believe it was 28-14. And he's gonna try to take the reins and help out, and we'll see if he's able to play. I'm sure he can't play as well as Rourke has, but I sure hope we can see decent performance from him and keep some victories going while Rourke recovers, and maybe he'll be able to come back before the end of the season.
Maybe, or maybe we're just going to be delighted of, oh, we got 2 stud quarterbacks. Are you kidding me? Well, that probably won't happen. But you know what? Let's see what the young man has. Let's see what he's got. Hopefully he can like maybe even break even until if Rourke can come back this year. Big if. But if he can, maybe he can just do that for the team and then, salvage what he can.
Yeah. The kid's name's Michael O'Connor. He played college at UBC 2015-2018. He led the team to a Vanier Cup in 2015. He's only 26. He is originally from a suburb of Ottawa called Orleans. He went to Penn State also down south and played some football down there. And from all accounts, I think he's fairly capable. It's funny that usually doesn't happen in the CFL. There's not number 1 being a Canadian and number 2 being Canadian. All the best to Michael O'Connor and Nathan Rourke. Thanks so much for a fantastic half of the year. 8-1 record and all those numbers I gave out. You've really made CFL fun again in the city, and good luck to us for a speedy recovery. Really hope it's back to 100% very soon.
Yeah, everybody hopes for that, and hopefully if possible he can get back on the field this year, but if not, hey man, we hope he just comes back 100% for the next season.
Yeah. One last note for me. Saturday I told you about. Sunday, first only day off of the week, we got invited to a Queen's Plate party for the 163rd running of the Queen's Plate horse race in Woodbine racetrack in Ontario. 163rd, longest race, continuous race in North America. It was kind of historic because it was the horse that was supposed to be the front runner, the favorite, was a filly, the only female horse in the running. All the rest were male horses. I heard some people say, "Oh, come on, the filly's not going to be able to beat the males. Not going to happen." She was named Moira, which is named after the character that Catherine O'Hara plays on Schitt's Creek. And got a lot of publicity about that, got a lot of notoriety, talked about Catherine O'Hara tons, showed lots of clips of O'Hara playing Moira on Schitt's Creek. Super fun. Lots of bets were placed. I didn't bet on her. I was like, no, I'm betting on this horse and a little bit of that horse, and I'll take a long shot. Great competitive race all the way around to the final corner, and Moira just blew the boys away. She won by 8 lengths, I think it was, and just crushed the field. It was spectacular to watch. It was 5-2 odds. She was the favorite in the end, so you didn't win a lot of money if you're betting on her, but really cool to see this happen. People were pretty shocked. There was a lot of money on her. Everybody was like, holy cow, this is the best horse. And but a lot of people were like, no, they were, sexist or whatever you want to call it. No, the males are gonna kick her butt, and she beat them all. It was pretty impressive.
No, that's awesome. That's super impressive that she was able to do that and then do it in a dominating fashion.
Yeah.
Dominating.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And once we left there, we went to the P&E, got to see the P&E for the first time this year. Hey, go check it out. Super fun. We got to see Blue Rodeo play last night, and took in all the festivities. Pretty much saw all we wanted to see, and had a blast. And it's on for the next couple weeks. I recommend any of the viewers, listeners, go check out the P&E. Really, really amazing, fun day out, and a lot of great bands playing there this year. And that for me was my one day off. Tried to take advantage, make the most of it, and back to work this week. It's getting hot again, and we're gonna have to. We're both back working hard, man. I can't believe you're back at it. 4 months. Did it seem like it went slow or fast, or what would you say?
First 2 months went very slow, super slow.
Okay.
The last 2 months went very quickly, because like the last 2 months was when I was actually able to do my rehab. I was actually able to sleep. I was actually able to do a lot of like positive things because my body was healing. But the first 2 months, that wasn't pleasant. That was not a pleasant experience.
No doubt.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm glad to see that you're 90%, and I'm glad you're back at it. Say hello to everyone that I know at work tomorrow, and thanks so much for doing this. And I'll make sure you get an invite when Vesa and I sit down. We're gonna have some steak and lobster. We're gonna have some amazing drinks, and you definitely should show up that first night for sure.
Oh yeah. It best be like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, not kidding, buddy. You owe me as well.
That's gonna be awesome. It'll be one of the highlights of the year for me. I can't wait.
Oh, for sure. It's gonna be a highlight for me as well, because I'm hungry. I'm super hungry.
Always. Okay, man, we'll get a good sleep tonight. Thanks again. And we'll talk through the week. And of course, we'll do it 1 week from tonight.
All right. You got it, man. You have yourself a great evening.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers. All right. Good night.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, come to another end to another episode of the Complete Sports Media Podcast. That was fun. Got to talk a lot of great UFC and a few other things, bits and bobs of that. But I hope you enjoyed it. I loved it as usual. And want to thank our partners and sponsors. Want to thank Anchor FM for posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Easiest place to make a podcast. Really phenomenal. Verbero Hockey Equipment and Apparel Company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your midst. Pampas and Possibilities, get them to help you spruce up your home, make it look fantastic. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company, for health and beauty products. Everything can be found on our website, completesportsmedia.com, and discounts and great ways to purchase products there. And go to completemedianetwork.com for so much content, so many great things. We've got things on our travel site and entertainment site. Things, we just came back from vacation, so there'll be things posted up there, and some other podcasts coming. So thanks for sticking in. Love ya. Appreciate the support. Tell your friends, tell your family, and have a great week ahead. Stay hydrated, stay out of the heat a little bit, and have a great time. We'll hear from you soon, and love you. Take care. Bye for now.